Today we're going to make a chat window. We'll start by making a class in the client-side DOM. That'd be class B chat window. B type GUI control. We'll add a parent to the class of B window. Click Open Script, and we'll start by making our GUI. Close up the DOM. Into the GUI editor, we will create B chat window. Inherit from B window. Set the class chat window. It starts with the base window, and to that we'll add our GUIs we made earlier. We'll add B scrollable, and selecting the main we'll add B resize. We're also going to add the chat input box. We'll start by setting the main with the size of 300 by 150. We're also going to set a minimum size of 100 by 50. This means that if you resize the window, it won't go smaller than this value. Next, on our chat input box, we'll set the position to 10/120. Size will be 280/20. We'll change our anchors to false, true, true, true. We're also going to set our text value for the little window there to be a bright yellow and a default state color value of transparent. Next, on our B scrollable, we're going to set the dock mode to none, and the name's going to be scrollable. Our anchors will be all true. Our position will be 1010, and our size will be 280 by 100. We can also go in on the scroll bar and change the corner default state color to transparent. Then for our B resize, we only need to set the position to 284 by 134. Okay, we can now save and close the editor. In our script file, we're going to copy the start, the toggle, and the class functions over. We'll then change those values. Setting up our anything that's exit will become chat. It'll be in the function name, the class here, this function name, this function name, the class here, and the function name here. Okay, we're also going to add a screen as vector3, get viewport size. What that does is get the screen values so that we can position the window and we're going to set it in the lower left corner by getting the screen Y and subtracting the window height. Next, we'll set chat, default chat channel to game. And what this does is it sets our channel so that it's known both the client side and server side. We're also going to add a method, add chat message, and messages string, and channel string. We'll start by client equals mega client area. Then we'll check to see if it's a scrollable panel. If the client is kind of that, then we're going to set the client offset Y equal to the client area Y minus the client size Y. And what this will do is set the position for our scrollable panel, so we don't have everything up at the top of the screen or the bottom. Next, we'll get a color for the text that we're going to put in. Color is class RGBA equals me, get color for channel. And here we'll add our channel into that. Next will be a message as node reference class eChat channel. Create node from prototype eChat label. Message build will equal to true. Our message text will be the message that comes in. The message default state presentation color will be our color that we got from up here. And then we will add back the message to the client children, which will put the message in the chat window. Next, we'll see if our client children length, the amount of labels that we've added back to the children, is greater than 100. And if it is, we're going to remove the last one, the first one on the list, client children at position 1. And we're going to destroy that one. Next, we'll have a get color for the channel, and it has a channel for an input and as class RGBA for an output. So we're going to take the channel name and we're going to assign a color to it. First, we'll start out with colors class RGBA. Then, when to lower channel is our value in combat for this one. The color will be set to miscellaneous utils, make RGB function, and this is a function in your utils, and it will have a 1001 for our value, which is the color red. We set up a few other ones. Our friend will have a 1.601, which will be orange. The game values is the one you're probably going to see the most of. We've got that as a light blue, 0.71. Our group will also be seen when you're in a group. It'll have 0101 for green. Our guild we set as cyan. It's similar to light blue, but adds more green, 011. Our C, which is local, if you chat to anybody around you, we made that white for 111. Our system, usually for most games I've seen, is yellow, so it'll be 1101. The tells are usually in purple, so we got 0.41. And the world value is also currently at yellow, be 1101. We've set up a default in case it can't find any of these, which we set that at white, and then it returns our color. Another function or method that we're going to add is method get client area. And this will be as a node ref GUI control, and it will find control by name. With a method we can use me and then scrollable client area. We can then compile and submit the script. Next, we're going to open a client-side class script that already exists. This will be the eChat handler class methods. In here we'll make some changes. We're going to add a remote method, set server chat, and it will have a chat message as a string and a channel name as a string for input. Here it will call the function below it, me, got chat message, and it will send the chat message and the channel name to it. This one is already existing in the file. Next we're going to open the chat input, and we're going to change a few things in there. We're going to comment out the create and the build because we're not going to constantly do that. We're going to check though and set the input visible and set keyboard focus inside this check. So this will move from the end of this over down to here, so everything's inside. Next we'll add our display channel. We're going to add the channels that we have from our other one, from our chat window. These down here at the bottom. The ones where we got the colors from, we're going to add those into here. And what this does is checks to see that this is a valid name for our channel. If it's not, the default value will return false and say it's not a known channel. Otherwise it returns true and it is a good channel. Down here we're going to change the get chat window to have our new class be chat window, and that will also be in the one below it. We're also going to change the input box. That will remain with the eChat input, but we're going to change and add in our class here in the middle and make sure we have the game there. With those changes in, we should be able to compile and submit it. Next, we'll work in the server side down. We're going to create a class called eChat handler, and what this will be is a data type, and it will be the override for chat. We're going to add the parent class of underscore chat handler, and then we're going to click open script. Once we're open, we should be able to close the DOM. Okay, here we're going to make an untrusted function, process send chat. It's going to have the message as a string and the channel as a string for input. First we'll get the account as an ID, and that can be found, get with system remote client. Then we'll have account as a node ref class E player account equals that account number. Char is a node ref of class E player character will equal account get my char. Our message, we're going to change from the original message to add in the character's name, the one who's calling this, add a colon to the class, to our message, and then add the message after. In our when, we're going to have when to lower channel that's coming in from here. If it's combat, it's going to have its own function in another area. If it's the friend, we're going to get a list of ID, we'll call it players, and this could be added to our character as a friends list, and there'll be a list of ID when it's created. Now what this will do is call chat he underscore chat list, and that will have inputs of players, channel, and the new message that we created. Now with the chat list, if we right click on that, our method callbacks is what sets it up. So we can find these methods here as our base method. if we did this HE chat and we did a search on it, we can see it's also in the base chat handler here. And the chat list has a check override, so the chat list is called. It has a method to check for an override of HE underscore. And what that'll do is call our method, and it says if it's not handled, do this. Otherwise, it will call our method, which is eChatHandler. And we'll be making these small methods based on the method callbacks. Okay, what we're going to have is each one has its own little chat and function is going to call. And for game, it's AE chat area. For group, it's another list. So we have the players as a list. And it's going to call a chat list again with the player's channel message. The guild would be similar to that one. We'll get a guild list. Our say is going to call HE chat local, which we're going to create that function. It's going to have the account, channel, and message for inputs. There's both the system and the tell will have their own functions. And then the world will have HE chat world. Okay, down here in our overrides, we'll have method HE chat world, and that will be in here. And basically we're going to have check area does not equal 0. So the area being the world area, and we're going to call area 0 instance 0 chat to the world. So what this does is runs a function to get all the player locations and then messages all those players and return true to say that we've handled it. The local one, which is when we're creating, has the account as a node ref coming in, the channel and message for strings and booleans return. Now we're going to raise a remote event by getting an interest set as a list of IDs. Miscellaneous utils will have a function on the server side called query remote interest set. This gets the account get interest subject node, which will point to the account in some way, and then our interest set ID list, and it will create that list for us. So for each account that is in that list, we're going to call the client. Account ID will be his ID, and it's going to send a server chat message. % here for the chat means it's going to the other side. If it's server, it goes to client, and client comes back to server. We'll send in the message and channel, and then we'll return true. Chat player, we're just having the message player to player channel and message. Otherwise, it's the same as in the method callbacks. The chat area is the same. It's going to have message area. The chat list will have message list. And the chat exclude will have message exclude. Now exclude would be something like people that you put on ignore. Okay, once we have that, we can compile and submit, and then close these out, the extra engine scripts. Next, for our server-side chat handler, we're going to need to make an override in the engine. We'll start by pressing F5. We'll go to the Tools tab, and at the top is System Nodes Configuration GUI. That will open the Hero Engine control panel on the server side. The system we'll look for will be the chat. And in this gray box here, you type in chat handler, and then we'll add that. And that will put your chat handler here. And then we can close this window up. Next, we'll open a client-side script. That'll be the chat input box. And what we're going to do is add one line. Look for the send chat message here. Instead, we're going to call server our chat handler class methods, which is the server script we made. And we're going to call process send chat. We're going to send our message plus what the chat current default channel is. And this part here, we're going to comment out the send chat. Then compile and submit that script. One more script we're going to do. We're going to open a client-side script. Type in player. And we're going to go for player count class methods. In here at the bottom, we have the chat window. We're going to comment out the chat window down to the build. And then we're going to add our call to our script. Open the client side here, chat window class methods, and then we'll add start. Then compile and submit. At this point, we should be able to test it. In order to test it, we'll bring back our GUIs. Hit the escape key to bring our window up. We'll log out and then log back in. It should have the chat window here. And back in. Now we have our window. We should be able to type in it. First hit the enter key, then our message. It will show up in the game color text. And that's our chat window.